Hello everyone, welcome back. This is class 9th, subject English, poem 8 of Beehive on killing a tree, and this is our lecture number 1. This poem is written by Beehive Patel. So this poem that is on killing a tree is written by Beehive Patel. The name of the poet is Beehive Patel. Now let's see the central idea of the poem. So this poem on killing a tree is a symbolic representation. Symbolic representation means that this poem symbolizes social evils, as it is a symbolic representation. So, as evils are deep-rooted, social evils that prevails in the society are deep-rooted in us because they were prevailing since ancient times. Similarly, tree is also deep and are deeply rooted. So trees are also deeply rooted, and in the same manner social evils are also deeply rooted in us. Now, what is the central idea? That we should try to eliminate them. We should try to eliminate them permanently. But would it be easy to delete or to eliminate something that is existing since ancient times? So, usually what happens? Sometimes when efforts are put, we think that they are uprooted. We usually think that okay, this particular evil has been uprooted. But suddenly what happens? But suddenly it appears before us again as tree grows. If not cut properly. So, if such evils are not uprooted permanently or properly, then they would appear before us again and again like a tree that gets deeply rooted, and it is not easy to cut a tree or to, disappear a tree, and it will again grow if not cut properly because the roots are still inside. Similarly, these social evils cannot be eliminated so easily because its roots are so deep. The poet is trying to say that we must put our best efforts, to uproot them, to eliminate them. And the poet also says that once we start an assignment or any project or any task, then we must bring it to end. We should not leave in between. We should complete that task until it is done till end. So the poet is trying to devise an idea that as evils are deeply rooted in our society, similarly trees are also deeply rooted. Like a deep rooted tree cannot be cut easily. Similarly, these evils cannot be eliminated easily, and we need to put our best efforts in order to eliminate them from the roots. Let's start with the explanation of the poem on killing a tree. You must have observed people cutting down trees, but can they kill a tree? Usually we see that people are cutting down trees. So what is the difference between cutting down and killing a tree? When we usually use this term kill, that means that the person is killed, has been, eliminated from its roots. Similarly, if we talk about tree, then cutting a tree still leaves its roots beneath the soil. But if we are talking about killing a tree, then it has to be done from deep inside the roots. So the poet is asking, is it easy to do so? So is it really an easy task to kill a tree? And as I told you that this poem on killing a tree is a symbolic representation. So tree here represents what? Social evils that are prevailing in the society. Let's read the poem and find out what the poet says on killing a tree. Let's start with the first stanza. It takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of the knife. Simple jab. Jab means forcefully when we are doing something. So a simple cut of the knife will not serve the purpose to kill a tree. Similarly, it is not an easy task to eliminate the social levels from the society. Will do it. A simple jab, a simple cut. Will do, will cut the tree, but it has grown, but it has its roots deep inside the society. Like the tree has its root inside the soil. Similarly, a social level has its roots in the society, slowly consuming the earth. That means slowly and slowly the social level, the power has become so strong and it is rising out of it. Like the branches arise out of the trees when it grows, similarly social levels are arising one after the other as it has its roots deep inside the society. Upon its crust, upper layer of the earth, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide. Leprous hide means discolored bark of the tree. So leprous means discolored. The poet means that the reason behind its strength, the reason behind the strength of the tree is the consumption of the resources. And which resources? Sunlight, air and water, which it has got from the earth's crust. And these resources were provided by the earth's crust so powerfully. And years of absorption of, it has taken years to absorb sunlight, air and water. So only a simple jab of knife will not serve the purpose. Similarly, the social levels will not be eliminated so easily from the society, and it will come out, sprouting leaves. It will come out again and again. It will appear to us that they have been eliminated, but it will come out with leaves again and will grow as ever. Second stanza, so hack and chop. Hack means to cut with heavy blows. Chop means to cut into pieces. But this alone won't do it. The poet is saying that ways of cutting a tree, that is to hack and to chop, that means cutting it into simple pieces, will not serve the purpose. So, not so much pain will do it. Causing so much pain by chopping and by hacking will not serve the purpose of killing the tree. That means little efforts will not serve the purpose of removing social evils from the society. The bleeding bark will heal. So, the poet advises us to hit the tree severely in the form of hacking and chopping. So, the poet wants us to put our best efforts and to hit the tree severely. But the poet contrasts that even that won't serve the purpose. That with hacking and chopping will only cause pain but will not serve the purpose of killing the tree. That the poet says the bark will heal. What will happen? It will bleed. The bleeding bark will heal. If we will chop and hack, it will cause pain. It will make the bark bleed, but soon it will be healed again. Now, how will the bark be bleeding? In the form of liquid secretion. So, here bleeding means the liquid secretion that will come out of the bark as soon as we will cut and chop the bark. That will also be healed with passage of time. So, from close to the ground, that is the roots that are, deeply rooted inside the ground, a new life will again be there by giving rise, will rise curled green twigs, will again revive life in the form of leaves. Green twigs means these roots that are still attached to the ground will again give life to the leaves and the tree will grow again. And small boughs. Boughs means branches. Boughs means branches. So, the deeply rooted roots will again give rise to leaves and branches, which if unchecked will expand again, which if left unnoticed then they will expand again to its formal, that means to its original size. Similarly, social evils will also arise again if they are not checked on time whether they have been uprooted or not. Next stanza, no. The root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. The poet says, so this chopping and hacking will not serve the purpose. We need to pull out the roots by putting our best efforts. But still, if we will do chopping and hacking, the roots will survive and the tree will again grow to its former size. So, the root is to be pulled out, and from the anchoring earth means the strength, and the strength is, the tree's strength lies where? In the roots that are deeply attached with the soil, with the ground. So the poet says the time has come to uproot the roots out of the anchoring earth, out of the strength. Anchoring earth means place which has stocked its strength. To do this, and it is not easy to uproot the roots of the trees. So the poet is telling the procedure how to uproot the trees. So, to do this, one need to rope the roots, then pull out of, then it is to be tied tightly, and then it is to be pulled out, snapped out. Snapped out means chopped out. Snapped out means chopped out. The poet says that roots are to be pulled out, and now from the third line he is telling us that how it is to be pulled out: by roping the roots, tying them tightly, and then with a sudden force the whole mass had to be pulled out of the actual strength, that is out of the ground. That is, the roots are exposed, right, or pulled out entirely. After tying and roping them tightly, the roots are to be pulled out of the earth cave. Then the actual strength of the tree out of the earth cave and the strength of the tree exposed. That means only then the actual strength of the tree, that is the roots. So what is the actual strength? The roots are exposed to the source through which they were inhabiting, that is sun or environment. The source of life of the tree, that is roots, is now exposed, and now its root matter is white and wet with absorption of water. So the source is exposed, it is white and wet due to absorption of water. It is now subjected to the outside, the most sensitive and hidden part, that is the roots, for years inside the earth. So they have been absorbing water for so many years, and now when they are exposed, they are white and wet. The most sensitive part, the hidden part of the tree, has been exposed now for years inside the earth, and the life source of the tree are exposed, and that is the actual start of the death of a tree. Now relate this with the social evils, that once the roots of the social evils are uprooted, then that is to be the beginning, that is said to be the beginning of elimination of social evils. The last stanza, then the matter of scorching and choking. Right? Now in the previous stanza, the poet told us how to uproot the tree, how to mark the beginning of the death of the tree, and now after the roots are exposed in the environment, then the sun starts drying it up. Scorching means drying, and when the roots will dry, choking means unable to breathe. The roots would not be breathing, that means they would not be getting any source to inhabit. So in sun and air they would be left opened, and that makes the root getting choked in the air and sunlight. Browning, heat will make the roots brown and hardens it by soaking all the moisture. And how will it be hardening? By soaking, as whatever the water has been absorbed by the roots will all get dry up, and so the soaking will make it hard. Scorching, sun rays will make it brown, and then they would become easy to twist, to mold. Wither means decaying, and so it would become easy to twist to kill a tree, and by twisting from its original shape, and finally they would get separated from its parts. This brings the actual end to the life of the tree, and then how it is done in the end. So finally the killing of the tree would be done. So the poet tries to convey that it is not an easy job to kill a tree. We need to put our best efforts. Similarly, the social evils are to be eliminated in the same way, right? So in this manner, the tree will be killed by uprooting it from its roots, then leaving them to dry, to choke, and finally they would be twisted, they would be turning brown, they would be becoming hard, and finally its parts are separated, and then we can say that now it is done. So this was all about this poem on killing a tree. Now let's discuss the poetic devices. The first we have is metaphor. So now recall the poetic devices that we have discussed so far. Metaphor, which compares two things which are unlike, or we can say when a non-living thing is treated, no, that will be personification. So metaphor is when two things are compared without the usage of like and as. Example, out of its leprous hide. So this too has been compared. Then anchoring earth. Here the earth has been compared like an anchor. Then we have alliteration. Another poetic device that is used is alliteration, that is repetition of consonant sound. That is, the bleeding bark will heal, right? So these were the poetic devices that are used, and whole poem is a symbolic representation. So now your homework is to read the poem thoroughly, and then you will be doing the textual questions in your fair notebook. Let's discuss the word meanings. Jab. Jab means to hit something forcefully. Leprosite, that means discolored bark of a tree. Then we have hack. Hack means cutting with heavy blows. Miniature means tiny and small. Boughs. Boughs means branches. Snapped means snapped out, that means chopped out. Earth cave means inside the earth. Scorching. Scorching means drying up. Withering. Withering means the process of decaying. So these were the word meanings. Now you need to note them down as well in your fair notebook, and you will complete the question answers, that is the textual questions, in your fair notebook.